Hello and welcome to this edition of Focus. How to bring Chinese tourists back to Europe. What are their expectations in this context of new normal? What are the opportunities that the post-COVID era will generate? And how are professionals preparing to find this clientele? The stakes are high, especially when we consider that Chinese tourists spend more than 250 billion euros each year around the world. In this report, we met with experts from the sector.
Europe is the most popular destination for the Chinese outside of Asia. In the pre-COVID-19 era, China was Europe's fastest-growing source market for international tourism, with about 5 million Chinese tourists every year. France, Italy and Spain are among their favourite spots for holidays. In a sector that's been dramatically hit by the pandemic, operators are confident that the recovery will start progressively once a huge vaccination programme takes place. Operators are already preparing to welcome millions of passengers coming from the Far East. Chinese travellers have changed their preferences over time, according to Dragontail Interactive, a company which helps tourism organisations engage with Chinese consumers.
Chinese tourists want to get the most out of their trip to Europe. They don't have very much time off, and for most people, traveling long haul all the way to Europe will be a once-in-a-lifetime kind of trip. So they want to make sure that they can see and do as much as possible. One of the trends that I think is so interesting in Chinese tourism in the past 5 years or so has been flower tourism. And we can see this in Asia as well, but for instance, in the south of France, to go to lavender farms and take pictures there, or visit tulips in the Netherlands.
The outbound Chinese tourism sector has seen an increasing segmentation of its market and the birth of new niche opportunities. In a recent TV debate organised by Euronews and CGTN, some speakers had underlined how today the vision of the Chinese tourist is different from the past, and for this reason there should be a variety of offerings for tourists.
More and more Chinese tourists come to Europe individually or with their families. They still come in groups, and of course, this way of visiting Europe is becoming the minority. And for this reason, we have to adapt our offerings to Chinese tourists, such as tailor-made proposals.
After the first wave of Chinese tourists, who mostly flood the most famous sites, now many Chinese are getting interested by other sites which are less well known, like the provinces and regions, for example, and places where they can relax. Because some of them not only wish to visit sites and monuments, but also to stay in a natural environment, totally different from the one in China.
Chinese consumers make extensive use of digital technology, and WeChat is among the most utilised platforms. Its scope and reach is impressive. Every month, around 1.2 billion active users connect to it for different kinds of services, from online payments to messaging and many more. In digital terms, it's the place to be for promoting a tourist destination. In Italy, the city of Milan has launched a specific promotional campaign on WeChat called Yes Milano. A similar initiative is also underway in the Italian region of Tuscany.
These advertising campaigns have allowed Chinese tourists to join the official account. By doing this, the tourists regularly receive, on average once a week, highly evolved and very engaging digital content that stimulates the desire to visit the city of Milan.
Stuzzicano la voglia, il desiderio per questi turisti di venire a visitare la città di Milano.
The first signs of recovery in the tourism market should appear gradually between next spring and summer, before a full recovery in 2023. That's all for this edition of Focus. Thank you for being with us and see you soon.